This is my 50th time recording this freaking intro because I keep stumbling over my words. How are you doing, everyone? I am the YuGiOh scrub, but you all can call me Bailey. I reached 600 subscribers during my last video because I'm recording this immediately after I recorded the last one. And I'm now at 600, so thank you for that. My goal is 1,000 by the end of 2025. I'm sure we can reach it, but I can only do so if you guys click the button, or I make 1,000 accounts and start clicking it myself. I guess only 400 accounts. Maybe I could do that. Cheat the system a little bit. But I can only really get there if you guys hit it. If you like the OSRS music in the background, you like cool GOAT format decks, if you just like my silly commentary, then consider hitting the subscribe button, but I can't make you do anything. This deck is pretty cool. It's a Megarocks Dragon deck. Like I always say, there's no card in GOAT format that does the same thing as Megarocks Dragon. I mean, there are some cards that basically act as big beaters, but Megarocks is really, really unique. You banish rock monsters, it gains 700 attack for each monster that was banished to special summon it. So it becomes a really big beater, and then you just try to do damage to your opponent. That's the name of this deck. This deck comes from Beast Beats. He's been a long-time viewer and subscriber. You know, I'm sure you guys, if you check the comments, he's in there pretty frequently. But he sent me this deck list. This is one of his favorite GOAT format decks, and I do think it's a really, really interesting deck because, you know, there's nothing else really like it in GOAT format like Megarocks Dragon. But it relies on banishing all these monsters, Master Monk, Gigantes, and the Rock Spirit, all being these cool little rock monsters that cannot be normal summoned or set, so then with a reasoning, they can just get milled, fill up that graveyard, and then banish for Megarocks Dragon. Because we're running a Reasoning Gate deck, we're going to have the Cyberstein, the Jinzo, D-Mock, and then this one Monk Fighter, just so potentially we can special summon the Master Monk. It also is another rock, just for, you know, meme's sake. You know, it's a pretty standard Reasoning Gate turbo deck. The only change I made from his deck list, I cut a Mind Control for a Brain. I just don't love having the triple Monster Gate and then only 2 Scapegoat and 1 Brain. I just am a little worried about not having monsters to normal summon. And then tribute for Monster Gate. You know, the Mind Control can steal me a monster, but I can't tribute it for Monster Gate because a mind-controlled monster cannot be tributed. So Brain Control, I think, is another way to potentially, if my opponent opens up with a monster, I steal it turn 2, use Monster Gate. You know, it just depends on our hand, but this is the deck. You guys can see it. Let's just go ahead and join the GOAT format ladder. Let me click this button for your viewing pleasure and go right on in. And look at that, we found an opponent pretty quickly. Always love that. I hope everyone is having a fantastic day. If you're not having a fantastic day, go and make it a fantastic day, and then you can finish this video. Let's, I'm feeling rocky. I have to commit to the rock. We are playing Megarocks. This deck Megarocks. See? It Megarocks so hard that you just keep throwing rocks at your opponent until you beat their scissors. So we will be going first. Opening hand is Graceful Charity, Brain Control, Master Monk, Megarocks Dragon, Swords of Revealing Right, and Rock Spirit. So, let us activate the Graceful Charity. Drawing Cyberstein, Megarocks, Reasoning. And we will discard Master Monk and a Megarocks. And then we're going to activate Swords of Revealing Light and end. Because I want to be able to go for damage, I don't think I'm going to activate Reasoning this turn. This deck, unlike another deck that I'm going to build in the future, the problem with the Reasoning Gate turbo decks is when you go turn 1, which you always want to go first. Maybe, I mean, is there such a thing as a blind second GOAT format deck? I don't even know if there is. I'm sure someone can be like, this deck has to go second every time, and maybe this is one. But I think that the card advantage you get by going first is just too powerful. Being able to do setups before your opponent. But maybe I'm wrong. The swords, though, hopefully will protect our life points so we can still Cyberstein. He discards a Jinzo, because he Graceful Charity, discarding Jinzo and a Solemn. I'll take it. He has Pot of Greed to follow up his Graceful Charity. So he's got lots of cards in his hand. Sets the monster, and ends. We draw Card Destruction. Let us go ahead and Reasoning. Calls 5. Interesting, because we don't run a single 5, I don't believe. We get the Monk Fighter. So now I'm mad that we discarded the Master Monk. Um, because we discarded a Megarock, I'm a little afraid of activating it. But we're going to do a card destruction. I have to keep looking around my microphone to make sure I'm typing the right things. Okay. We do, fortunately, draw Pot of Greed. So we'll Pot of Greed. Getting Snatch Steal and Demock. We will banish Megarock. Special Summon Gigantes. Tribute both of these for Dark Magician of Chaos. Getting Reasoning to our hand. Or maybe... Yeah, we'll get Reasoning. Graceful's the other... No, we'll get Graceful. Okay, we get game one. I was genuinely, like, still thinking. Alright. Do we just click done siding? Screw it. We're done siding. This deck is an OTK deck. So I suppose it really does just rely on massive Megarock, because there's no return or dimension fusion. This hand does not look as good. Double Gigantes, Demock, Monster Reincarnation, Lightning Vortex, and my opponent opens up a Pot of Greed. So he draws himself 2 cards. Pot of Greed draws you not 1 card, not 3 cards, draws you 2 cards for the price of nothing. Wow, 2 games in a row my opponent opens up with Graceful Charity and Pot of Greed. So, he's going through his deck pretty fast. And this hand does not look like a hand that's going to be able to fight through a good setup board. Though I suppose the Gigantes maybe. Depending on what he summons, we could discard a Gigantes, which would allow us to then special summon another Gigantes. And if again gets destroyed by battle, it would wipe his back row. That's something, I think Gigantes, I'm glad it's being used a lot more in Earth Aggro. I've always felt that these cards are underutilized. Honestly, Sylphied, if you haven't looked, that's the wind version of Gigantes. Banish a wind and special summon it. I think it's a pretty damn good card. Also, I'm seeing a lot more Time Wizard. When I say a lot more, I saw it a couple weeks ago. Maybe a week or 2 ago. But it's an interesting little guy. I mean, I love the art. Time Wizard might be some of my favorite art. Let's actually think about what my favorite card is. Time Wizard's pretty cool, but I think, what's the pirate ship? And I know I'm saying my favorite card, I don't even remember the name. But maybe someday I'll tell the story of when I opened that pack and I got the cool pirate ship with like a skull on it. Skull Mariner, is that the name? Okay, this hand is not too good. We're just going to end our turns. We can't do a thing. So, opponent discarded Spy and Time Wizard. Time Wizard's also a light. I didn't even realize that. I don't know why I thought he's a dark. He looks like a dark to me. Something about, I think it's the purple. He seems like he should be a dark. My opponent summons a Gravekeeper Spy, hitting us for 1200 damage. We draw a Giant Trunade. And unfortunately, I mean, you know what we could do? We will discard Gigantes. We'll do the play we were talking about. We'll discard a Gigantes to wipe his Gravekeeper Spy off the board. I suppose he could chain a Book of Moon. And then we will banish Gigantes for Gigantes and just try to attack. He has scapegoats. So, fine by me. And we'll just end. Maybe next turn he's going to Metamorphosis and take my Gigantes, but we could Giant Trunade and actually put our Gigantes back in hand, which won't be too good because we don't have another Earth to banish, but it is pretty funny to be stealing back our monster that's been Thousand Eyes restricted. Nope, he just goes ahead and banishes a Light in the Dark, Time Wizard, and Gravekeeper Spy for Chaos Sorcerer. And he does banish the Gigantes with the Chaos Sorcerer effect. And summons Tribe Infecting Virus, hitting us for 1600 damage. We draw Monk Fighter. Unfortunately, Master Monk is only 1900. I will still special summon the Master Monk. And he Solemns. Okay. I mean, that's game. I don't actually know if it was game, but we're going to just treat it like it was game. That, we were pretty beat. Alright. We're just gonna go in again. I really don't know how to side with this deck. Beast Beats, if you watch this video, maybe leave some tips for anyone who wants to copy this deck. Our opening hand this game looks a lot better. We have Jinzo, Megarocks, Gigantes, Monster Gate, Reasoning, Pot of Greed. We'll open up with the Pot of Greed, getting Heavy Storm and Monster Reincarnation. Do we activate the Reasoning right away? I don't think we do. I think we set Monster Reincarnation and end. I don't know if Monster Reincarnation... We need to set something. I really don't want to discard anything. But I'm waiting for next turn, and I'm hoping we can Heavy Storm. He has another 3 games in a row he's opened up Graceful Charity. Look, I get it. It happens 1 game, maybe even 2. 3 in a row is pretty crazy to just see Graceful Charity in your opening hand. What are the odds of that happening? Unfortunately, I do not have the odds memorized. I know that some people who are really into this game know that, well, if you're running 1 copy of a card in your deck and you have a 40 card deck, then you have a point whatever chance. I mean, it'd be more than point something, but what is it? 6 out of 40. But then technically it's like the first card is 1 out of 40, and then it's 1 out of 39, then 1 out of 38, and so it becomes a little bit better with each draw. Statistics. I know I could do it real fast if I actually chose to. Opponent discards Karibo. Very, very good card in these kinds of decks for my opponent to side. Karibo, if you're running a Chaos deck, especially a Chaos deck that also runs Metamorphosis, then Karibo is the best card to use. Unfortunately now, we'll go ahead, we'll activate the Graceful Charity. Drawing Snatch Steal, Brain Control, Premature Burial. We'll discard Jinzo and Gigantes. We'll try to activate Heavy Storm. Does he have a Scapegoat? He has Ring of Destruction, so we each eat 1,000 life points. We lose our monster. He also has a Scapegoat. Unfortunate. Opponent gets Hand of Nephthys. We'll take a token. And we'll Monster Gate it. Getting... I really do have to look to the side. It is kind of annoying. Getting Monk Fighter. We will then Reasoning. This is actually where the monster reincarnation would be really good, because we would have been able to get the... I actually hope he hits 8. We get Cyberstein. We will pay 5,000 life points to get, where are ya? Gatling Dragon. Declare. Flip 3 coins. Heads. Heads. Tails. Pop 2 tokens. Special summon Megarock, banishing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it becomes 4,200, 4,200, and we'll snatch steal that last token just in case it wasn't game. All right. GG's. And he left the duel, so we don't even need to say GG's. We will do... yeah, we'll do another match. We're still only a few minutes into this video. But that was pretty fun, not gonna lie. Sometimes playing these decks, especially my Machine OTK version, I think I've done that on this channel since I've come back, last October, making videos again. I have, I believe, early on done my... incredible. It's like one of my most powerful decks in my opinion. My Reasoning Gate Machine, aggro, I mean, it's insane. You can have a freaking Cyberstein and Jinzo, or Cyberstein summon Gatling Dragon, then double limiter removal. It just does so much damage. You know, it's incredibly difficult to not OTK. But it happens occasionally. Opponent activates Trap Dust Shoot. Probably going to take Cyberstein. I would imagine he takes the Cyberstein. But our opening hand is pretty good. Brain Control, Meta, Scapegoat, Heavy, Gigantes, Cyberstein. So Scapegoat Meta is pretty good. So yeah, he takes the Cyberstein. And we will just set Scapegoat and end our turn. And I'm going to take a quick drink of water because I'm thirsty. Opponent summons a Blade Knight and ends his turn. We're just going to go ahead and try to steal this Blade Knight. Getting a 1,600, 1,000, 1,000 strict, which gets Sakuretsu armored. Unfortunate, but it's fine. We really could use a Reasoning Gate, one of the two, Monster Gate or Reasoning. Opponent sets a back row, we get Premature Burial. Unfortunately, I think we just have to end our turn. So our tokens will go down. Our final beautiful blue goat token. But we draw Jinzo. which we're going to Heavy Storm. Getting her to call the Haunted. We will then take Blade Knight. And we'll try to attack. Which... because it's a Blade Knight, he doesn't get the effect, and now we tribute for Jinzo. So, I think that was a really nice play. I mean, it's hard for... actually, he knew we had brain control because he trapped us shoot it, so I think that was a pretty big misplay. Opponent hits Megarock, and we'll discard Gigantes, keeping Premature for the Jinzo, in case it somehow goes to the graveyard. But it does not, and we will immediately be special summoning this Rock Spirit. And ending our turn. So Rock Spirit gains 300 during my opponent's battle phase. I've had a lot of people, maybe not a lot, but whenever I do see this card, some people say, like, act as if it's your battle phase. Nope, it very specifically is your opponent's battle phase. So he's playing Warriors. Decree's pretty good against Warriors. Say Decree. He also saw Magician of Faith, though, which probably Chaos Warriors. I'll be done siding, and I think I might have to call it after this match. We'll see. Opening hand is Cyberstein, Gigantes, Monk Fighter, Rock Spirit, Megarock, Dragon. Very, very monster heavy. But anytime you see Cyberstein, though, there's a Gearfried. So, what do we want to summon here? Is Ryu Senshi an Earth? I think we summon Ryu Senshi. So we go Cyberstein, declare, pay 5,000. Summon Ryu Senshi. And try to attack over Gearfried. We can negate a blast with Chain. The idea here is Ryu Senshi allows us to negate a lot of the traps that he's running, because Warriors runs a lot of traps. Even though we do have to pay 1,000 and we are limited to only 2 negates given our life point situation. I don't know if it's laggy or what. Nope, so he loses the Gearfried, Cyberstein attacks in, but Ryu Senshi is also an Earth, so it can't be banished for Megarock, but it can be banished for Gigantes or the Rock Spirit. And we'll just end our turn there. Nothing else we can do. Snatch Steal obviously could not take the Gearfried because Gearfried cannot be equipped. Well, it can, and then it just destroys the equipped card. So it would do literally nothing if we tried to Snatch Steal it. Also, it wouldn't do anything because what's the plus that we're getting? We would Snatch Steal it for no reason at all. So, opponent summons a second Gearfried. Excuse me. And there's the blast with Chain. I will negate the blast with Chain. We have to. Obviously, I just sent the Cyberstein to the graveyard too fast. He was not actually attacking the Ryu Senshi there. We draw another Megarock Dragon. And we'll try to attack this Gearfried. The Ryu Senshi is likely going to get hit with Trap here, and we can't negate because we don't have 1,000 life points. Yeah, it's a Sakuretsu armor. But now we can set Monk Fighter and banish Ryu Senshi to special summon the Rock Spirit, which it would. The reason I summoned Rock Spirit instead of Gigantes is the Rock Spirit's technically a little bit bigger, because this will be during my opponent's battle phase 2,000. He Nobleman across outs Monk Fighter and DD Warrior Lady. Okay, so that's game. Doesn't matter. And we'll just go into game 3. Okay, I like this hand a lot more. We're just going to end our turn after setting just a road Decree. Opening hand is Decree, Storm, Card Destruction, Monk, Reasoning, Snatch Steal. Unfortunately, he opens up with a Donzalug. Hits the Master Monk out of our hand. That is the best card I wanted him to hit. I want all these other cards. Maybe Heavy Storm would have been fine too. I would have not been too upset. We will Decree in the end phase. We draw Megarock Dragon. Let us go ahead. Activate Reasoning. He calls 8 Gigantes. Monster Gate, Reasoning, Monster Reincarnation, Brain Control. Get Monk Fighter. Do we Card Destruction? Yes, we do. Except we set Snatch Steal. We get Rock Spirit and Jinzo. And then we get rid of BLS, Gearfried, Sakuretsu, and Nobleman. We will then activate Snatch Steal on the Donzalug. Opponent's typing. We have not normal summoned yet, because Monk Fighter was special summoned off Reasoning, so we'll then summon Jinzo. And we'll banish Gigantes for Rock Spirit. And we'll take that card out of his hand. Warrior returning alive. Okay, so that would have been one way to potentially get back his BLS. So he did draw a card, and he has not clicked end turn yet. Want to actually okay, so there we go. It's all good. We'll take 400 damage. Snatch Shield will go to the graveyard. But we have lots of trap negation. We draw Master Monk. We'll just go and attack over the Gearfried. He can't even activate traps. So Royal Decree, I believe the way it would work with the Gearfried if he has a Blast with Chain is he would be able to activate the Blast with Chain. It would do nothing, but then be destroyed by the Gearfried and would pop something. He just leaves right away, but because the Jinzo says you can't even activate traps, he can't do that play. So we get the win there, and we did pass the 30-minute mark. Unfortunately, I'm sorry everyone. I know you want more Yu-Gi-Oh! Scrub content, but I do think I am going to call it at that. Really, really interesting deck. I will leave the deck list in... Actually, you know what? Only because it's not my deck list well, you know, I'm going to leave it in the description. I'm like, it's not my deck list, but you guys can literally see it right here and take it. You know, if you really wanted to, I'm just going to make it easier to download it than then type it all out. You know, it's not mine technically to give away, but I'm giving it away by making a video, and he told me to use it, so... Here you go. Beast Beats, I'm sure you won't be, but like, don't be mad at me for using your deck and recording a video with it and giving it to the world. And if anything, feel like you'd be happy to share this deck because got some match wins and it's pretty cool. I wish there was a way to use Dimension Fusion, but unfortunately none of these monsters can be special summoned besides their own effects. I suppose actually, like, could you special summon them and then they go to the graveyard, then you banish them somehow, and then you special summon them later? Yeah, because it must first be special summoned. Must first, and... Okay, so this one can't be special summoned at all, except by doing the Monk Fighter tribute. Maybe I'll make a Master Monk deck one day. We'll see. It could be interesting. It's like my twin-headed Fire Beast. But let me know what you guys think of this deck. I think it was a pretty fun little combination of cards. I am the Yu-Gi-Oh! Scrub, and goodbye.